Well, that was very strange to do after all these years. I sincerely haven't done that for so long. Interestingly enough, the riff that I use on that, the dum-da-ga-dum-da-ga-dum-da-ga-dum-da-ga-dum-da-ga-dum, I actually revived on the new album, Earthling. I used it on one of the songs on that. You Gotta Spot It. When I was a baby, I did a rock session with one of the bands, one of the millions of bands that I had in the 60s. It was the Manish Boys, that's what it was. And the session guitar player on it, doing the solo, was this young kiddie who'd just come out of art school and was already top session man, Jimmy Page. And he just got a fuzz box, and he used that for the solo. He's wildly excited about it. And he was quite generous that day, and he said, look, I've got this riff. He said, but I'm not using it for anything, so why don't you learn it and see if you can do anything with it? So I had his riff, and I've used it ever since. It's never let me down.
So, David, scores of top international celebrities were clamouring to wish you a very happy birthday.
Including
and we also,
Fred Nietzsche. Oh, I'm dreading this.
We also asked them for a question. Robert Smith, I think, starts at ground zero.
Hello, David. This is Robert from The Cure. Why did you choose the name Bowie when you changed your name? Happy birthday to you, happy birthday to you, happy birthday, dear David, happy birthday to you, your outcast please.
You let me off very lightly, Robert. I'll give you a big kiss tomorrow night. There was a band in the mid-60s achieving worldwide television fame called the Monkees, and there was an English guy in them called Davy Jones, and I was just Davy Jones at the time. And I just liked the idea of, one, that it was a Scottish name, and the other, that it was sort of images of the Bowie knife, and the idea that the Bowie knife was sharpened on both sides, so it cuts both ways. I thought it was something terribly ambiguous about the name. So I opted for that.
Many of your celebrity fans, I think, bottled out of asking you the question that they really wanted to ask, like a really tough question. Brett from Suede kind of got halfway there and backed down a bit.
Well, he's tall enough for the job, isn't he?
Hello, David. This is Brett Anderson from Suede. There's lots of things you could ask, isn't there? Tin Machine or something like that. But I just wanted to know about one really brilliant song that I've always really loved, which is a very early song of yours, and it's always been one of my favourite songs. A song called Let Me Sleep Beside You. Want to know what you think of it and why you don't play it? Have a happy birthday. See ya.
How did you know about that song? I guess it must have been released on something. Da 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 boom. Good riff. Thank you for reminding me about that, Brett. I might use that riff. I'm the ultimate recycler. It sounds like it might have been influenced by Simon and Garfunkel, but gone a little heavier. I still thought I might have a chance of being a romantic songwriter, which never actually proved to be my forte. Do you really like that song? You are a funny bloke, Brett. You really are.
Here's a man who once said that Ziggy Stardust changed his life. I think you would call him very reverend indeed.
Hello, David. This is Ian McCulloch. Tell me this. Between the Ziggy Stardust and Thin White years, how decadent did decadence get? Which song other than your own do you wish you'd have written? Have a great birthday. Love on you. 2
questions there.
Oh, thank you very much for the questions, Ian. How decadent was it? Well, I tell you, some days I wore green and red. It got that bad. What was the second question?
Which song do you wish you'd written?
Oh, Lord. It's governed by the moment. The one that comes straight to mind immediately is Shipbuilding. I think it's one of the most beautiful songs written. Stunning piece of work. Makes me cry, just the opening bars. Specifically the Robert Wyatt version. I think it's just the most tragically beautiful song.
I mean, I suppose you've had a pretty reckless existence. Did you ever think you'd actually make it to 50 and still be a sane man?
I didn't want to make it at 50. It seems so unglamorous to want to be 50. There's a certain point when you're young, if you're nuts enough, you kind of go into auto-distract and you half want the whole thing to end because it's better to kind of go out at like 30 or dare you be 35 in sort of a ball of fire or smoke. But once I saw that I just couldn't do that I sort of survived it all. Then it became unusual because I'd never thought about it. I really sort of felt kind of redundant until I was about, I don't know, 43-ish, 44, and then I started to feel, though, there might be some point in getting old.
So how long does it take you to get over a serious night on the booze now, David?
About 24 hours. But I actually don't drink anymore, I'm afraid to say. I mean, I'm aware I'm talking to an English public here, but I'm afraid it no more happens. No, I stopped drinking many, many years ago. And everything else is happens.
Which point did you decide this is it, the booze has got to go?
I think just waking up day after day, realising that I hated my life. You know, it was sort of, you get to a point where you think, well, I can't put up with this anymore. And I just did something about it.
I guess middle age carries a terrible stigma in the West,
I'm over
doesn't
middle
it?
age. I'm long past that.
But, you know, it's like the Sex Pistols got leathered for reforming at age 40.
Right.
Is there anything that you wouldn't actually now dare to do at age 50?
Yeah, quite a lot, but I'm not telling you. I don't know. That's a really good question. No, I think I'm daft enough to kind of have a go at anything, really.
And what about exercising? I mean, how long do you have to spend exercising to stop your arse sliding down the backs of your legs?
That's my line. I remember saying years ago that the first thing you realise when you're 40 is you get out of bed and your bum drops. I don't know. Well, I haven't got much of a bum to begin with. I'm still a skinny sod.
David, Andy Warhol, it's a role that you've already played once in your life, isn't it? And you've also chosen to record an acoustic version of the track, obviously from Hunky Dory for us on Radio 1. Tell us a bit about Andy. What fascinated you about him?
I think it's the same kind of thing that fascinated every art student back in the 60s, the fact that this guy was as well known as the work that he did. In fact, probably more people knew the name and the look of Andy Warhol than actually knew what it was he did. When I first met him, I took him this song and I played it to him, and he was gobsmacked. I think he absolutely hated it. And he was cringing with embarrassment. I think he thought that I'd really put him down or something in the song, and it really wasn't meant to be that. It was kind of I guess, an ironic homage to him. He took it very badly, but he liked me shoes. I was wearing a pair of shoes that Mark Bolan had given me, brilliant canary yellow, semi-wedge heel, semi-point rounded toe, remember? 7.5 they would have been. Anyway, he liked those because he used to design shoes when he was in his advertising, so he had something to talk about.
Mick Jagger once said about you should never wear a new pair of shoes in front of David Bowie. I don't know what he was referring to.
I know why he said that. He showed me an album cover that he was going to do using an artist called Guy Pilar. And I immediately rushed out and got Guy Pilar to do my cover too. He never forgave me for that. Because mine was Diamond Dogs and I can't remember what his was.